Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Successful Stylist Unfoiled. I'm excited today to share with you another avenue within the industry. I'm sitting down with my friend, Joe Kurdyla, and we are talking all things barbering, barbershops, academy, product lines, and I've really enjoyed. I think I always want to try and get as many diverse avenues within the industry on here, and oftentimes I'm chatting with more hairdressers and stylists and things like that, but having a barber on and shedding light on that avenue within the industry is something that I really feel grateful to be able to share with you. So Joe is the co-owner of the Kings Domain Barbershops here in Melbourne, and now recently Saint Domain, which is a new venture that they're coming out with. And I feel like I got the inside scoop. I was the exclusive content here. So you'll be just as excited as I am, I think, to learn about that new business that they're opening, and also their Kings Domain Haircare line. So I was fortunate. Joe lives on my street and he's my lockdown walking partner. So I kind of got the firsthand scoop on that, I think, too, learning about it. And I loved hearing the process of creating the products and trialing them throughout their barbershops and how that makes an impact on retail sales and things like that. So I totally enjoyed this conversation with Joe and his move from starting in the industry through Toni Guy and learning as an all-rounder and really gravitating towards men's hairdressing and barbering. And that was where his passion was. So I hope that you really enjoy this episode as much as I did. All right, today I'm back with my lockdown walking partner who I have missed. This is a little different view for us than the dog park.
It is a little bit. It's weird, isn't it? It's a sign of the times that we live two blocks apart and we're having to Zoom each other.
Oh my God. Well, I'm sitting down with Joe Kurdyla.
Well,
yeah, did I get it?
Good.
That's the most stressful part of these. I don't get stressed about the questions or anything. It's the name pronouncing that gets me. Yeah,
mine's a bit of a tough one, but I don't even know if I pronounce it properly,
Well, that says a lot about you. Anyway, I'm excited. We've talked about this. You were probably one of the first people I was talking to about even putting this together on our walks and all the shit through lockdown that we went through last year and talking about it. So it's exciting to finally have you on.
Yeah. Well, you did this, you set this up the lockdown last year.
Almost a year ago. September 1st is my birthday, first birthday.
That's crazy.
I know, isn't it insane?
And here we are again. Yeah.
No. Anyway, we'll make the most of the time. I actually was really glad that we kind of set it up because I felt a little bit like not motivated to do it, like I've got to get up and you have to feel like talking and being switched on for it. So it's good once I get in the role. It's exciting, but I was glad that we've decided to do this today.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's exciting. Keeps us busy.
So I would love to start. Your journey is so exciting and something quite different, I think, than what I've had on the podcast. And I'm really excited to dive into kind of the business side of it and that. And something I've wanted to have on as well is more barbers, because I've had Owen on and Frank Gambuza, but I haven't had that many in this world inside of it. And I think it's such an important avenue within us. And I think that the hair industry and the barbering industry is really coming together a lot more and collaborating more and having that be not so separated. So I think it's exciting to have you on and hear the different side.
Yeah, 100%. I think like you say, like the barbershops now, they're pretty much like salons.
Yeah.
And, the two, the barbering and the hairdressing, they really just kind of come together now. And at Kings Domain, we call that like modern barbering, where we kind of take traditional barbering techniques and kind of hairdressing techniques and combine the two, really.
Yeah, so cool.
I remember when I first started out, when I left school, was 16, it was either working like a $5-10 barbershop, or you went and worked in a salon. Nothing in the middle, nothing at all. So, it's really exciting nowadays, people like myself, where, I discovered pretty quickly that I just had the passion for men's hair. I like cutting long hair, but I just don't like dealing with women.
That explains a lot.
So yeah, there's, for people like that, people that want to just do like trendy kind of men's stuff, there's so much more out there now. It's so different to how it used to be.
Yeah. And when you started, you felt like if you were going to go down the path of men's hair, it was like you were doing a $5 haircut, and it wasn't this like prestigious kind of thing. It was kind of like a step down to you at that time, thinking about going to do men's hair.
Yeah. I guess it was, if you kind of wanted a trendy haircut, a footballer haircut, you just go to Toni Guy, or a salon like that. And if not, you just went to your local barbershop and you got 2-3 back and sides,
like
and
the generic haircut.
Just there was nothing in between. So it's great now that you can go to any barbershop now pretty much, especially in the big cities, and you've got barbers that are skilled in long and mid-length hair. And like you said originally, like the two have really come together.
Yeah, so cool. So how did, obviously,
I
know you
really
just mentioned,
and it's changed a lot. Go on.
No, I was just going to say how you were mentioning Toni Guy was the place to go, and that's where you actually started your career, right? So how did that kind of happen for you? Like, did you always want to get into hair, or like you're saying you got in and realized once you were in, you liked barbering, but what actually drew you to getting in to starting at Toni Guy?
Well, I think I knew I wanted to leave school. So when I was, 15, 16, I knew I wanted to leave school. So the kind of options, kind of where I'm from at that point, all the guys were going to building college, and go be an electrician or whatever, and the girls were going to hairdressing college, and I can't even put up a shelf. So I just thought I'll go with the girls.
Oh my God, funny. So you started that as out of school.
Yeah. So I just started washing hair on a Saturday when I was still at school, and then it kind of went from there, really.
Oh my God, cool.
Yeah. And at the time as well, I kind of don't mind saying now at all, but, a lot of people were kind of like, taking the piss out of me quite a bit. It was, for a guy to go and do that at that point, it was a bit like, but, it worked out all right in the end.
I think that's totally something that I like having on the podcast. There's this stigma around hairdressing. One, I was actually talking about it with Candy last night. I said to her something about stigma around hairdressing, and she's like, well, what are you talking about? And to me, it was obvious, like, oh, that people think that hairdressers are dumb and that we, go to hairdressing school because we can't finish school. And she was thinking of a stigma like that we're tattooed and have purple hair and all these things. And then another stigma probably is, for a guy going into the industry, there's this like, oh, like kind of gay stigma, or, there's so many misconceptions about being a hairdresser. So I think you sharing that point is so valid for people coming into the industry to know that anybody can do it. It doesn't matter your sexuality, your gender, anything, whatever it is, anybody can do it.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think there's really that stigma around as much anymore, if at all. I know I've got a younger brother. He's kind of 11 years younger than me, and a couple of his mates kind of left school and got into barbering and work in barbershops now, and it's just quite a normal thing now. But yeah, when I was 16, it was pretty different.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, if you're going to be a hairdresser, then obviously, I must be gay.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But
so when you got in, did you start doing an apprenticeship through Toni Guy? And then when you were doing men's hair in that course is when it stood out to you?
Yeah, like I started doing the apprenticeship, just kind of went through all that. I just wasn't really that into, kind of styling women's hair, blow waving, all that. Obviously I did it, but I didn't love it. My passion was always kind of, I liked my clothes myself and my hair myself. And, at those times it was all, everyone was kind of copying what David Beckham were doing. And there were some really cool bands out at the time. And so I was just kind of into like men's fashion, men's hair, stuff like that. And And then, that did end up, obviously I left because I didn't enjoy the lady stuff. And, that did kind of take me to a $5 barbershop.
Okay.
Which was kind of like the next step of the journey, really.
Yeah. Tell us.
Which was, it wasn't easy at all. It was really difficult. It was, it's kind of a bit rough and it kind of in and out. You had, when you're first starting up, you're kind of a little bit slow. And, I remember I had someone like take my comb out of my hand once. He's like, you're not doing it right and stuff like that. It was really like from one extreme to the other. So, but that's just part of the journey, and you learn so much from stuff like that because from that, I guess you get really good at kind of your fading and your really short hair, and also your speed as well. With barbering, even nowadays, you need to have a successful barbering business. You do need to get people in and out. We don't compromise the quality at all, but you do have to work quickly. That's how you kind of make money in kind of our game, really.
Yeah, totally. Because your ticket is lower. Like, although you're not at a $5 price point anymore, your ticket generally for a men's cut is the lower end of a cut or a color range in a salon.
Yeah, exactly. We don't really have kind of all the colors and stuff like that you do.
Yeah.
So for barbershops, you do have a lot more clients, but like you say, you just got turn them over a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Without compromising the quality. So it's not always, you're not really necessarily doing the haircut super quick. It's what you're doing when you're not cutting hair. I've had so many people like that have joined us from salons, and I look around and they're leaning on the back of the chair talking to the client in the mirror and stuff like that. Like bad habits that they pick up in the salon. But one of that.
That's so funny.
You just got to work a bit quicker.
Yeah, I would not do well. I'm like the opposite of quick. As you know, I'm always late.
You're always late, but you got to learn to chat and cut and keep moving.
Yeah, I have the gift of the gab. I don't have the gift of speed.
Okay.
That's important too. Now, how did your journey? I read through what you've sent me, and I think it's so cool. And from knowing you, that you moved to Australia you were in Thailand Googling hair, like best barbershops in Australia, and ended up here. So how did the journey take you from working in that $5 barbershop in England to here?
Well, I think I always told people I was going to move to Australia. And I spoke to a lad who I was mates with at school messaged me the other week, and I've not spoken to him for years and years, but we were good friends at school. And he said, "Oh, wow, you made it to Australia." And I didn't realize, but I think I've just been telling people for years that I was going to move to Australia.
That was always
I've never really, I'd never really done any research on it. I don't know why I'd kind of like had my heart set on moving to Australia. So I went traveling, went to Thailand. Obviously the plan was to go to Australia, but I was just going to take a few months out. I was just laid on a beach in Thailand and just Googling, best barbershops in Australia, and Kings Domain came up. And I think there was an article, it must have been like Broadsheet or something like that.
Yeah.
So Kings Domain came up, and I just did a little bit of research on that in terms of like who owned it. I knew Joey and Aaron had owned it. A little bit more research, Joey's won Hairdresser of the Year X amount of times, things like that, and it was pretty much exactly what I wanted. And I think I'm a big believer, looking back, that you just got to find the right people, find the right mentors. If you want to do well in your career, you've got to be willing to move around, no matter what industry you're in, really. To work with the right people. There's nothing more valuable than kind of being in the same room or standing next to someone for 2 or 3 years and really kind of learning your trade.
Yeah. And admiring the person that you're working alongside or trying to emulate in a way, or that you respect the business they've created. And I feel like those are the things that you have for the team that you work with.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like when I wanted to go to Australia, I wanted to travel, but I also didn't want to just waste a year. I wanted to kind of learn. So, if I was moving to Canada now, the first thing I'd do, I'd sit there, right, who's just won Canadian Hairdresser of the Year?
Yeah.
I want to go work with them.
Yeah.
And, whether that's, no matter what city that's in, I'd just move to that city and I'd go work with them. I'd make that sacrifice. So I landed in Sydney. I've got my heart set on working at Kings Domain, and I'm walking around Sydney and I'm like, right, I'm trying to find somewhere that looks cool. Couldn't really find it. I thought, right, where's this Kings Domain? So I Googled it, realized that Kings Domain were in Melbourne. So I'm like, well, I'll just get like an Uber there or something. This is the level of research I'd done into Australia.
It goes to show, if you can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, honestly. So once I realised that it was going to cost me $2,500 to get an Uber there.
9 hours in the car.
Yeah, I realised, I was just kind of winging it a little bit. But yeah, then I did Sydney for about a week or two, realised I was in the wrong city and moved to Melbourne.
Oh my God. So had you reached out to Joey or Kings Domain or anything ahead of time saying, hey, I'm coming, can I get an interview? Or were you just like, oh, okay, I'm going to Melbourne and I'll sort it out then?
Yeah, I'd spoke to them and they said, when you're here, come past. Obviously, everyone's got an Instagram or whatever, so they could see my work, and said, yeah, when you come here, get in touch, and come in and we'll have a chat. But yeah, didn't realize that far away it was.
That's so funny. I love that. But it's funny that you say that about Googling and finding it, because that was the same thing for me before I moved. I was like, had my heart set. Same thing. I hadn't done any research about cities or anything. Like I didn't even know Queensland existed or any of these places, but I knew Melbourne and I knew Sydney. And that was my plan too. And when I Googled, Joey's was one of the salons that came up. And by fluke, the Airbnb that I was staying in my first 2 weeks was right on the street in front of them. And I ended up going in and getting my hair done just to have like a snoop kind of. And I was like, oh my God, this place is exactly similar to kind of what I'd been used to at home. So it's funny how you do have those feelings right away and intuition of kind of where you need to go and what you need to do.
Yeah, 100%. And it's good not being kind of attached as well. When you're traveling around, I could just move from Sydney to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And meet these people, get into that line of work, and just see what happens.
Yeah.
So I do think surrounding yourself with the right people, I think that's really, really important, and making those sacrifices if you want to learn.
Yeah.
And
how long have you been with that company now?
Well, that was it. I've been here nearly 7.5 years or something.
Yeah, wow.
I think what is it? I got here in December 13, and then I went to work there January 14. So, and then that's been it. I kind of decided on the beach what I wanted to do, and I've stuck with it, and thankfully I've had some really good opportunities through that.
Yeah. So talk us through maybe some of that. Like I do want to get, because now you are a partner with them, but I know you've had some creative journeys through that, and that you're trying to go more on the business route now, but the opportunities that maybe you've been able to get through barbering. I think a lot of times maybe people see that for hairdressers, an Australian Hairdresser of the Year and Colorist of the Year, but maybe not so much in the barbering. But you've done some photo shoots and now are kind of guiding your own staff on that route. Is that true?
Yeah, correct. I think we've done photo shoots, we've done shoots, for Fashion Journal. We've always doing the entries for the American Crew, Men's Hairdresser of the Year. The other competition we do, what's it called? HFA, and the other one where you win the little glass trophies. HBIA, I forgot my confused. So yeah, doing all those stuff. So we still managed to kind of do a lot of the creative stuff, which has always been really exciting. But like you said, I've kind of taken a bit of a step back from that this last couple of years just to focus on kind of the business side of things and developing myself in terms of managing people and running a team and things like that. I kind of seem to be enjoying that a little bit more nowadays.
And so how did that transition happen for you? You were an employee working in the Kings Domain shop, and then now you've opened one in Greville Street and are the co-owner of that. Is that the correct title?
Yeah. So I think I started working there January 14, and then by the following December, I'd opened my own shop with, with Joey
so
and
that's
Aaron
not
and
very
the guys.
long.
Nah. So I think I'm someone who's quite kind of determined that, once I kind of get my head in it, then, that's it for me. I'll just kind of do it. And I think it's just like being involved in everything, not just kind of committing yourself in the shop, but, the whole buying into the whole culture as well. I think that's kind of even more important, going to all the staff events and, I think I flicked you through a lot of a few pictures from, some of the stuff we've done over the years, shop, parties and events and photo shoots. And I was looking through my camera roll last night, and obviously at the minute we can't do too much, but, you're kind of looking through the last, 5, 6, 7 years, and, we've had a lot of fun, and, you develop as well. And it was quite nice looking through all those pictures last night.
Yeah. But how did you decide, was that something that you were open about with Joey and Aaron and the team from the beginning when you joined, being like, I know I want my own shop, and saying it's either going to be with you or it's going to be on my own? Or, because sometimes I think that's something that we hear quite often of staff leaving to do their own thing, and it burns this huge bridge between them and their employer. And it's like, well, I've said from the beginning that was my goal, or, maybe they didn't communicate. How did that communication happen where you were then maybe offered this opportunity or asked for this opportunity?
Yeah, I think, exactly. I was just really open about it. I think initially when I came here, my initial plan was probably just to steal all their ideas and go back to England and kind of do my own thing.
Yeah.
But, like you say, I bought into the culture and I got on really well with everyone, and I love Melbourne. It's such a cool city. And, I did, 18 months or so, and, we just had that conversation. I said, look, this is what I'm kind of thinking of doing. And, they just kind of said, look, if you want to open your own shop and you want to stay in Australia, I'd worked super hard as well. So I think I'd kind of proved, that I kind of had the work ethic and the commitment. We just said, you can open up a Kings Domain if you want and just do that with us. So, before I went on a working holiday visa, and within 2 years, kind of had my own barbershop.
That's crazy.
So I remember ringing my mum and telling her, and she's like, "Oh, so you're not coming home then?"
My mom said that to me when I bought a friggin' couch. Never mind a barbershop.
And I was like, well, no, I'd not really thought about it. It wasn't until that point I was like, I'm committed now. Huh?
Yeah, that's so funny.
I remember a client saying to me really early on, and it was good advice. He said, you can make a lot of money in Australia if you work on your day off. And where I worked before, I just kind of rented a chair, so I just got paid the same every day. But here, you got all your penalty rates, and so the guys at Kings Domain were good with me because they let me work my day off every week. So I was able to kind of save that money and save money for my wage, and it was good for them as well because the money was getting reinvested into a shop. But I just always remember that guy telling me that really early on. And I think if you got the work ethic and you can make a lot of money, earning double time on your day off. That's what pays for opening your own shop and stuff like that. And for those 2 years, I've come here to travel and stuff like that, and I didn't really I didn't really do that. I kind of was working 5-6 days a week to save up for the shop. But you know, like, you just got to do what you got to do. And you know, in where I'm from, you didn't really have those opportunities, you know, to earn double time on your day off. So I could just see a clear path, and yeah, you just work hard, have fun, and it kind of worked out all right.
Such good advice. So then when that starts happening with the partnership, is it something that they say to you, like, okay, you need to bring X amount of money and we bring X and it's 50-50, or are there negotiations on that you can decide how involved they are or not? Or
yeah, probably could, but yeah, without going into obviously all the numbers, just kind of sat down and figured it all out. Cool. You know, and how we were going to do it, and just set up kind of a new business really, and then that was that. So it kind of happened quite quickly, but then, you know, the last few years after that have gone even quicker, you know, because you're always learning things in terms of, you know, having a team of people and managing staff, and you know, every day, every week you're learning new things, and you know, I've really enjoyed that.
That's so cool. So you probably takes a bit of pressure off when you're going into a partnership like that with an already established brand. Like, I think anybody in Melbourne knows of Joey Scandizzo's and Kings Domain, and you know, it's a well-regarded brand. So that probably helps a lot when you're opening a new shop, that you're not doing it on your own. You have this name behind you and staff behind you as well. Like, were you able to take staff from each of the other barbershops to kind of help you out, or was that something that was on you to find staff?
Yeah, we took a couple, which really helped. But yeah, like having the name, you know, that's why you do it. You know, because I'd only been here a couple of years, you know, I didn't really know that many people. You know, you know, it would have been really difficult for me to do it on my own. So, you know, it was great. But I think not only that, you know, I've enjoyed sharing the journey with people. And, you know, there's people in, you know, with Aaron and people in that Kings Domain team that, you know, I'll call them every day and, you know, this has happened, that has happened. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? You know, you can't kind of, it's priceless, that stuff, you know, having someone just to call and say, what do you think of this, and you know, have I done the right thing here, or you know, what do you think what do you think of this, what do you think of that? It's priceless.
Love it.
And I enjoy it more. Like, I think the best it is, you know, running a business, and you know, you do have to work long hours, and it can be stressful at times, but you know, the most important thing is to have fun. And when you've got people around you that you get on with, then you can have a lot of fun. And you know, what's the point in doing it if you're not going to enjoy it?
Yeah, I think, you know,
something if you do not,
you go.
So I was saying, if you do it on your own, you know, there'd be you, and then you'd be your staff, and you can obviously have a laugh with your team and that, but you'll always be a little bit separate from them.
Yeah, totally.
So it's good having a team around you, you know, that you can share all the good things with, and sometimes, you know, the struggles as well.
Yeah, love that. So important. It was actually something when I started the podcast, and when I was talking to some people who had partners in their business, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, to me, I think if I was to do it, the whole point is I don't like how certain things are done at X, Y, and Z, that I would want it to be so much my own. And everybody, and now it's changed my opinion, having these conversations, being like, it would be so nice having a partner or somebody, because you're right, no matter what, you are segregated a little bit from your team, no matter how well you get along. To have somebody else to share the weight of it all and the conversations with is so helpful, that is actually in the business firsthand.
Yeah, I think if it was just me and I had 10 staff, for example, and you know, you're going through a time like now, you know, these times, I think it'd be, if you didn't have anyone to talk to, you know, I think it would be pretty lonely, you know, and pretty stressful as well. And I think, you know, when you talk about having partners and making compromises and things like that, I think, you know, that can be the case, but just having really clear communication, I think, is the most important thing.
Yeah. And then,
you know,
you go.
just being really, really open all the time and talking regularly. And, it's just that classic communication, If I lived with you, for example, and then you left your dirty dishes in the sink one night and I didn't say anything, and then the second night I didn't say anything, after like 3 months, I'd throw you out and we'd end up
and I'd be shocked, like, why? You haven't said anything. Has Cullen been talking to you?
Yeah.
Have you guys been meeting at Coles on Glen Huntley?
Yeah. I've seen him outside Hanoi Hannah. We're having a chat.
He's like, that fucking Crystal, she leaves the dishes every day.
Yeah.
That's actually the
But
main...
if I'd have told you on day one, clean your dishes up, then, we'd never end up getting divorced, would we?
There you go.
So, you just got to, yeah.
That's a good analogy. I'll take it.
Do you understand the analogy?
I do. I think everybody else will too. And then something else that you've gotten through your journey with Kings Domain, and I was quite interested hearing this from our chats last year, was the product company and how that's kind of happened. So walk us maybe through that and how you were involved in that. And
yeah, so we just started formulating our own products. Obviously, we want to make our own kind of high quality products for our clients. Cut out the middleman, and you can kind of make them a bit more affordable for your clients as well.
Yeah.
Which has been really good. And then obviously this last year or so with us having lockdowns, it's kept me busy as well, just developing our products. So we've got a sea salt, we've got a clay, a cream, a paste, a powder, a shampoo, a conditioner. So it's been good to be kind of getting involved with that and working on that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've just kind of started wholesaling that as well to other barbers around Victoria and in a couple in New South Wales. So again, that's been something that kind of had to learn myself from, Lexi always kind of laughs at me because, I kind of go to the warehouse and I'll pick the products out and then I'll post them off myself, and then I sign onto my computer and I've got like a portal with the accountant, so I'll do the invoicing myself.
Oh my
so
God.
like you're kind of like jack of all trades, you know what I mean? You're the postman, you're the warehouse man, you're the accountant.
Oh my God. And how did you learn to do all of that?
Like you're developing the product. Just on the job, I guess.
Yeah. Well, because Joey has a product range. 11 is Joey's, right?
Yeah.
So does that help that he's involved and already knew kind of that? Like, did that help, or was this completely separate and it was up to you to do this?
No, for sure. Like obviously Joey's got some good contacts that we were able to use, and then it's always good getting his help and his opinion and stuff with all the products that we kind of get sent back and we try. But it was good because you get sent loads of samples, you try it on your clients, and you can get all the staff involved, you can get your clients involved. So the whole kind of process of developing the products was kind of really good as well. And again, it's good to get everyone's opinion, and you want everyone to really feel part of that as well.
Yeah, I guess that's so cool. Like you're getting the samples coming in and getting to actually try them and be like, oh, I liked this, but the smell, I hated the smell, and you're actually using them on your clients. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And the staff are the ones in the shop that are using them all the time. So, it's great to give the samples to them and get their feedback, and, get them kind of helping with the development of everything as well, because, then when they're part of the final product, they're gonna be a bit more, more passionate about it. And, it's good to get everyone's input.
Yeah, true. And I think the biggest thing about selling, like retail is always such a big kind of push point when you work in a salon. It's always part of your reviews and your targets. Most salons that I've worked at, it's a huge part of it. So having staff be a part of the process is actually really good for you as an owner and a manager, because they are more inclined to sell, because sometimes getting people on board with retail is the hardest part. But if they've been a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'd hope that they'd be more passionate about that product that they've kind of been involved in and they've seen kind of develop over the last 6-12 months, then there would be, another random product on the shelf. Because you're always going to get stuff that people really like, and then there's stuff that they don't as much. But if they're part of it, then, there's
So
more chance
cool.
that there'll be kind of a lot more into it.
Yeah, love it. And now the next thing which kind of sparked this whole conversation again happening is that you're launching another barbershop or another brand, or where am I getting the exclusive? I want to know everything.
It is a bit of an exclusive, yeah. So we've got another barbershop opening, which is going to be called Saint Domain. So it's going to be separate from Kings Domain.
Okay.
So there's myself and Aaron and another guy involved in that, which will hopefully be opening the first one kind of October, November. Obviously, with these lockdowns, it's a little bit hard at the minute,
doesn't it?
Yeah, so that's just going to be a slightly different concept. And we've just been really working on streamlining our service and improving our offering a little bit in terms of these new Saint Domain barbershops. So they're going to be a little bit different in terms that there'll be no apprentices at this one. It'll just be more, you walk in, there'll be an iPad, you'll check yourself in, and we've got a new system where you can be you can put yourself in like a virtual queue.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's kind of like a bit more of an old school barbershop where you kind of walk in and write your name on a chalkboard, but with all the modern kind of appliances. So each station will have an iPad on it, and then we'll have a basic haircut price, and then we'll have add-ons. So if you want a beard trim, if you want a skin fade, it'll be a little bit more. If you want your hair washing, it'll be $5 extra.
So they're clicking it like on a menu, like say I'm going to Hanoi Henna, just say like we said, and I'm adding my dumplings and I'm adding my extra sauce because I always get extra sauce. So they're doing that and like customizing their order on their phone before they get their service.
Not before they get the service, but the barber will just kind of add it up at the end on the iPad at the station. But what they can do is, if so the first one's going to be in South Melbourne. So, there's so many offices and people working down there. What they can do is they can log onto the website, they can add themselves into the virtual queue, and then they'll be able to kind of just go down and they'll know how long it'll be approximately, and can just grab a coffee and sit and wait.
So no appointments at all. It's only.
So we're going to start off without appointments.
Yeah.
So again, like the traditional barbershop where you just kind of walk in.
Yeah.
But using these kind of modern systems, and kind of cutting out having the apprentices as well. So that'll just be able to kind of keep the cost down as well. For the clients. I think we've got so many clients that come to the barbershops and they come every single week. And some people I know would come twice a week if they could afford it.
Oh, really?
So, by kind of streamlining our service and kind of improving these systems and coming up with these systems, we can kind of make it a little bit more affordable. So people can come once or twice a week if they just want to come and have a fade and things like that. And I guess that's kind of a little bit more what the traditional barbershop was like as well. So I guess it's like a modern,
cool
kind of barbershop.
Now, something that just when you're saying without apprentices, and I'm just throwing you a curveball here, and you might, skip over if you want, but something that has been a hot topic lately is about the freelancers going in and renting chairs and not having an apprentice and not having somebody to educate the next generation. And that's like the main issue that seems to be coming from salon owners complaining about, say myself as a freelance artist, is who's coming and training the next generation. So saying that you're now opening a barbershop that's not going to have apprentices, has that been a topic of conversation of that? Or it's like you still have your barbershops that have the apprentices? So,
well, we do have the barbershops that have the apprentices, but, more importantly, we have a academy at Kings Domain as well. And we have a Kings Domain barber program. So our barber program goes right from, basing service right through to advanced cutting. So you learn every single aspect of barbering to a really high standard. And what we can do with this new brand with Saint Domain is, we're going to be giving people a lot of experience from the academy. So, we're doing 4 intakes a year at the academy. So you can imagine the amount of barbers that we're going to be able to train every year.
Yeah.
And we've only got, so many Kings Domain shops. There's only 5 stores.
I hear you.
So, and they're all fully staffed. So by having kind of Saint Domain as well, it's another way to get these apprentices onto the shop floor and give them that kind of work experience. So
Cool.
Saint Domain is something that, because it's a more strict back model, it's something that you can probably scale a lot easier.
Yeah.
And hopefully if the first one goes well, that'll be the plan, to kind of scale and open up a few of these stores.
Yeah.
And when you kind of do something where you're planning on opening several stores, then you're gonna, obviously your main problem is just making sure that you get a real high standard of barber and a real high standard of staff. But by using the Kings Domain Academy, we can kind of make sure that all the staff in those shops will be to a really high standard.
So good. Love that.
Yeah.
Is the Kings Domain Academy, like, I went to college and I paid and I went to college for a year. Is that what it's like? Or is it for people who are, say, applying to Kings Domain or maybe now Saint Domain, and you're like, yeah, but you have to go through our training process? Or is it completely separate, that they are not expected to work for you after that? They're just doing a training program.
So we have a few different options. So we have our Barber program, which is more of like, an intensive course, with part-time course, full-time course, and then we have our apprenticeships as well.
Okay.
So that'd be where you work in the shop, kind of 3-4 days a week, and go to the academy once or twice a week. So we normally start with academy 1 day, in the shop 4 days, and then when you come towards the end of your apprenticeship, we'll kind of get you in the academy a couple of days as well, just to finish off the apprenticeship. So
cool.
That's running really smoothly now. We started off just hiring a room from we started off upstairs at Joey's when I used to do it a few years ago, and then we started hiring a room at Kangan, and then we've gone on to converting a warehouse in Collingwood, which has 20 chairs in there. So it's really grown, and we've got some amazing educators in there. I used to do it, but we've got some really good educators in there now. I got cut, yeah.
They found better people.
Got some better people in there, some way better people.
No, but part of your story and what you've been saying is that you really did want to focus on the business side and the mentoring side, which I guess comes with educating, but you can only do so many things. And I find it hard, even myself. I have so many ideas and my brain's running wild, but like, I'm doing everything at 20% and I need to just focus on something. So it's good to know where your strong suit is and where your passion lies and go with that.
100%. And I think like I think that's more of a positive to kind of see that, I'm not the best teacher. I look at the people in our academy, great. We've got Camille and Luca, and like Camille won the men's hairdresser of the year last year. What a fantastic person to have in there teaching our apprentices, and they all work in our barbershops as well. So they can kind of bring that culture across. So they can bring the culture from the barbershop and that passion, and be able to pass on the current knowledge as well of what's going on in the barbershop, because they're in there 3 or 4 days, and then they're in the academy as well. So that means that the apprentices are getting the best possible training, and like I said earlier, we're combining those traditional barbering techniques with modern hairdressing techniques as well.
Yeah. Is there any talk of, say, you're going into something that's more streamlined, or is there talk about how you would transition to not, like, do you specifically do men's hair, or is it you, especially you, because you came from a background that you can do long hair and you learned all that through Toni and Guy? Is there something in that with the training that they're learning long hair too, and that they're non-gendered pricings or anything like that within your barber shop?
Yeah, well, they do long hair, they do everything.
Yeah.
In terms of men's cuts. You know, obviously you start with a long mannequin and it gets shorter and shorter. So they cover all your long hair, your mid-length hair. And because, you know, Kings Domain, we've always treated as a kind of a modern barbershop, really. You know, we've always been really big on kind of longer and mid-length hair training. That's kind of what we've always wanted our point of difference to be, really, in terms of, you know, having the staff that can do those really good kind of long to mid-length haircuts.
Yeah.
And someone to be able to confidently walk into a shop and know that anyone can cut their hair no matter what length it is to a really high standard.
Yeah.
But in terms of, you know, the other thing, like I've said all along, I'll cut anyone's hair.
Yeah.
Man, woman, whatever. It's just, I guess it's the business model. So we do 30-minute appointments.
Yeah.
I've got female clients.
Yeah.
And I just say to them, just wash your hair and dry your hair before you comb.
Yeah.
And then I can cut their hair in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just cut out the basting service and, you know, cut out the blow wave, and, you know, I can still cut the hair. It's not a salon experience. They're not getting, you know, the same experience to get to came to you. But if they just want an inch off, then you know, come in, pay $50 and have a 30-minute appointment. And
true. Because a lot of it is like, for me, the way I operate and the way that everything for me is based on timing. However long something takes me is what the price is. It doesn't matter if it's a men's color or a woman's color or a woman's cut or a men's cut. If it takes me less time, it's a lower price. So I guess that, a lot of people,
exactly the same thing.
Short hair takes less time, or sometimes short hair takes longer. Like for me, that would take me a lot longer than to cut my, you know, generic haircut that I do on everyone.
The
only haircut I know how to do.
You just one haircut.
Yeah, that's it. Everybody gets the same. That's so funny.
Yeah, exactly.
I
think like if you
go
with like the, you know, the short hair and the skin fades and things like that, you know, I think if there's a lot of hairdressers listening to this, I think a lot of them will say that would be the thing that they won't be as confident in doing, like skin fades and zero fades and the real short clipper work, because, you know, you're working with millimeters. So if you make a mistake, it's so easy to stand out. So, you know, we've got our guys kind of really trained on attention to detail and things like that. So, you know, it's just a different skill set. But we've got plenty of people that have come from hairdressing backgrounds that we've then taught how to do all the clipper work. So they're a great all-rounder. And I know all those guys, if a lady came in with longer hair, they'd have no problem doing that in 30 minutes. And you know, they can take an hour if they want, but they just have to charge them for an hour. It's all that time.
Cool.
But yeah, anyone can come in.
Love
but
it.
Normally it's a lady who doesn't want to spend $100 on a haircut because they only want to, you know, an inch off.
Yeah, so totally. Like, it's a price point difference more than anything. Yeah.
So, you know, for them, if they're not bothered about the wash, they're not bothered about the blow wave, they just literally want an inch off. We can cut that dry and, you know, do it in 20 minutes.
Whereas for me, like, that gives me anxiety, being like, what? Like, I'm not going to wash their hair. Like, it's so instilled in, you know, like when you come from a salon environment, like it's just completely different. So it's, totally true.
Yeah. But, you know, if someone did want, you know, obviously that, then, you know, you can just send them to Joey's or whatever.
It's the helpful thing about you having a company that has all different tiers is that you can share your clients between where you think they fit best.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Is there anything that you feel like you would want to say, like, say you coming into the industry and being like, people gave you a hard time, or, you know, people who are thinking about going into barbering and maybe being like unsure? Is there something that you would say to motivate them to join the industry or anything like that?
I would just say that, you know, I guess you're an architect of your own environment, really. So if you really want to do it and you really want to be successful, then, you know, from my personal experience, you surround yourself with the people that you want to learn from. Find good mentors. Obviously, find yourself a great educator or a great educating platform, or go and do an apprenticeship somewhere, and just kind of soak it up. And the sky's the limit, really. And I remember at school a teacher saying, "Oh, why would you want to go and be a hairdresser?" And I don't know if a teacher would say that nowadays, but I remember one saying it to me, and it didn't really put me off. And I've been able to move to the other side of the world and kind of open my own businesses. And I don't know what she's doing now. She's probably still at the same school.
It's so true, but that's literally what I say all the time. Like, look, I've been able to move to the other side of the world and have a career that can take me anywhere. For you can go traveling and have your clippers and your scissors, and that's it. And you work your way through wherever you're going, making money and enjoying it. And I think that even what you said about the photos and the shop parties and all of that, I mean, that's how I met you, was at a shop party. And the fun of that, and the industry, it's just such a good time. Like, there's nothing better than the work Christmas party or the event nights for the industry. And those are, it's the best of both worlds. I think you're getting to show that you can go in being a hairdresser or a barber and come out a business owner, a product developer, an entrepreneur. Like, there's so many avenues that you can have within this industry, and that I appreciate having someone like yourself on to share another avenue as well.
Yeah, 100%. And, I didn't like I didn't like being sat in a classroom at school, and, academically wasn't the best. So, if there is anyone like that, then, I think it's a great industry to get into. And like you say, the sky's the limit, really. And, with our academy now, we're really trying to improve the quality of training, which improves the overall standard of barbering in the industry and in Australia. I wish, I'll be biased, but, I wish there was something like that around when I was learning, so I didn't have to go and do the whole Toni Guy thing that I wasn't that interested in doing, and then go to a $5 barbershop and get bullied every day by the customers off the estate. And then, it was just such a stressful journey.
Oh my God. Well, you've made it. You've made it.
It turned out all right in the end.
I'd say so. You're doing well. Well, I've loved that. I've loved hearing the other side and a bit more about the barbering industry. And I think the new venture of Saint Domain sounds really exciting. And yeah, I love hearing something. It always shocks me when Cullum goes down to get a haircut and then he comes back up 5 minutes later. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I wrote my name on the chalkboard. The line was big. Like, I didn't get it. And I was like, what do you mean you wrote your name on the chalkboard? What if you want? I said, because I only let him go to that one guy now. I'm like, but you have to have that guy. Like, you can't just put your name on the chalkboard for anyone. So I love this whole modernizing of it. And I think that would really appeal to a client base, that you can put your name in.
He can put his, he can put his name on the chalkboard while he's sat on the sofa.
Yeah. That sounds great. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. If there's anything else you feel like we haven't covered, by all means, you can drop it in now. But I think you've really...
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Loved it. That was fun, and thank you for having me on.
No worries. Thanks for messaging again. And I get my wisdom teeth out tomorrow. We've had quite a roll with this dentistry issue and our lockdown walks.
Known anyone go to the dentist as much as you. Every time I speak to you, you go to the dentist. You've got very nice teeth, to be fair.
Thanks, Joe. Well, wait, I'm like, hopefully, I told my grandpa I was getting my wisdom teeth out tomorrow. And he goes, oh, you're not going to be as smart after or something. And I was like, oh, I never thought, like something stupid like that. Anyway, I'll catch you for a walk next week.
Thank you.
All right. Nice to chat with you.
Then.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of The Successful Stylist Unfoiled. If you made it this far, I hope that it means you enjoyed the episode. If you did, the most helpful thing you can do is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's greatly appreciated, and I hope that you'll join me next week on The Successful Stylist Unfoiled.